Jupiter protects your body and health by looking back at your Aries ascendant. If you're a rising sign, that's important. Good health protection from Jupiter. If you're an Aries sun, he fortifies your career and ambition. And a moon in Aries, he brings you bigger, better, more beautiful, and luscious homes. So all of this is a new narrative. Enjoy the ride. Aries, sun, moon, rising, July 2026. Your life is about to get very, very lucky. You guys are the sign that least listens to any of the All Signs videos on my channel or any channel. So I hope you are going to tune into the extraordinary luck that comes your way. Thank you, Jupiter, moving into the house of good fortune in your sky and beginning to share a new story of fortunes and goodness and luck, prosperity and fertility in your world. We do not mind Mars moving through your third house. If you're an online social media beast, if you're a writer, teacher, communicator, marketer, or seller, your passion and ambition is going to surprise you, and you may have some big breakthroughs there. I don't mind Mercury retrograde for the Aries folk either, because Mercury, when he goes backwards through the sign of Cancer, gives you some time to really ponder in and from your home what decisions you want to make your mind up from the quietude of your domicile, where you reflect on the great visions you have for the world. We've got that 3 weeks of Mercury retrograde in the month of July. And lastly, really rare, first in a lifetime, Barbeau's basket. Basically, a formation of heavens looks like a basket. It happens with the outer planets involved. We haven't seen this basket before. It is truly once in a lifetime. And it's going to open up in the second half of July, an incredible series of golden opportunities. It's going to be a positive feeling. So my name is Lori Lothian and welcome. This is Lunatic Astrology. We are using Western Tropical Zodiac. And in my astrology, of course, I encourage you to use the whole sign house system. And if you like to use astrology to indeed time your best month of July, because you know what's coming down the pipeline, what to avoid and what to wait for, then you're probably going to like my Sky Reader class. If you've never thought about learning astrology, I'm giving you an option to consider learning to read the sky, like reading sheet music, learning to understand your chart a bit more, learning to understand two very specific timing tools that once you have a language of astrology under your belt, you'll be able to use them without having years and years of practice. Sky Reader starts 7th year teaching in September, as it always does every year. Come join me. Deep dive code for a discount for the 7-week live class, including Q&As, guest teachers, bonus content, Discord and Facebook groups for community gatherings. If you are into this stuff, check out my description box below and get the early bird enrollment pricing until the end of July. We will start probably mid-September. Usually the 3rd week of September is my starting point. We might be a little earlier this year. Okay, so I'm excited because I have an Aries sun and an Aries moon, which makes you wonder, right? Should I listen for my sun, moon, or rising? Your moon is your thinking, feeling complex. I think I feel. And it represents your home and your mother. The sun represents your career, ambition, and purpose, but it represents your father figures and your deepest spiritual essence that shines through the ascendant, which is your character in the game of life. It's your body, the ascendant. It's your character. It's how you look, all the lions with the big hair. And I'm Aquarius. We're called the lean ones, right? I'm skinny. I'm skinny as a mini all my life because I'm Aquarius rising. So you're going to listen for all three, right? Sun, moon, and rising, depending on who you are and where you are in your life. After the mid-40s, your sun sign begins to pick up a lot of potency. And you might notice that listening for your sun sign is very useful as well. Try all three, see where you're at. Let's get started. This is an Aries chart. When we talk about sun and moon, we pretend the sun is here. We pretend the moon is here in the first house in Aries. And we look at the sky from the perspective of the first house. As we begin the month of July, the first thing to pay attention to is Jupiter will have ingress on June the 30th and will be there for 12 whole months in your house of good fortune. Venus is here waiting for him in her house of what we call her joy. It sort of bakes in a signature that lasts a year of extreme luck and good fortune. This can be everything from winning money, like gaming, speculations, and lotteries, to being fortunate in any area of your life where you desire to be lucky, to also fortune in love. You are fortunate in love and love that lasts, because Venus codes for lasting love and romance. So you're likely, if you're a single Aries, to meet somebody in the next year. But if you're not a single Aries, you're very fertile and you may have children born to you after June 30th of this year through till next year. And you can have conceptions as well. And if you're already pregnant listening to this as an Aries, then Jupiter, ruler of the childbirth house with Venus, says a beautiful, hopefully very smooth delivery and labor. So it's really good for juicing up your creative juices. The muse is on steroids. The artist in you comes alive. Your talents and gifts are flourishing. And over the next year, you might even create some very important entrepreneurial project or creative project. So that's a code for that new story. Enjoy it. Jupiter protects your body and health by looking back at your Aries ascendant. If you're a rising sign, that's important. Good health protection from Jupiter. If you're an Aries sun, he fortifies your career and ambition. And a moon in Aries, he brings you bigger, better, more beautiful, and luscious homes. So all of this is a new narrative. Enjoy the ride. I think I already have a video out on Jupiter and Leo. But if I don't, yes, I do. But I'm putting a second update video on as well. So go watch my Jupiter and Leo video that will come out before this video drops in the third week of the month of June. And then we're going to break down the itty bitties. But again, another big story is Mars. Mars in the third house can be very ambitious and very driven when it comes to matters of any engagement in social media, traveling shorter distances, communicating online, writing and teaching, learning, marketing and selling endeavors. And he's like passionately driving forward. And having him here full of his intensity from June the 28th to August 11th is where you apply a lot of drive and intensity as well. And he will be in a broad sextile to Saturn, so that hard work will pay off. So working hard, renovating a website, marketing and selling, teaching, promoting, whatever you're doing, good for you. Venus and Jupiter and the ingress time here of Mars suggests this will pay off in good fortune and good luck in general. And Mars here can get you to travel, but usually short distance or local travel becomes the thing where you want to go off and, get a weekend getaway or travel in your state or close to home, June the 28th to August 11th, lots more time on the road, so to speak. We don't mind the Mercury retrograde at home because it's not impacting your public decisions. You're nested in the home. Mercury turned retrograde on June the 30th. He doesn't turn direct until July. Okay. The 23rd, and the shadow period is June 12th to August 6th. So it's like you're trying to ruminate and make major life turning point decisions in and from your home. Yet he also represents your childhood and people from your childhood, including your family of origin, people you live with. You maybe hear from these people from your past and maybe dredging up the past. You may be nostalgic about the past, or things from your past and your childhood come back and you're paying attention to them. And if you're trying to buy or sell property under this, Mercury retrograde and back and forth, you can't get the buyer or the deal to settle. You can't get the contract to work. It's not great. So buying and selling property and real estate, wait till July of 2023. Don't hire laborers and people to work on your home, especially during the retrograde, because something will go wrong and you'll have to have it done all over again. So be patient here until July 23rd for this Mercury dude to go direct. All right, let's break it down into week by week. Jupiter on week 1 will square Chiron, the new wound, in your earnings, resources, money, job, like money you make from a job, facial appearance, teeth, voice, calling, and vocation. Now, here's an important thing to know, because I was born with this wound from my Aquarius rising. This is like a really tough one. It's not that you won't make money. Will you be feeling aligned with purpose and you're used to your natural talents and gifts as you do? I might suggest you start to think about, are you in your zone of excellence or genius? Because Chiron's pretty darn picky, and he may start to tell you, he entered here 19th of June, doesn't leave until September 7th, then back again in April for 7 years. He's going to say, are you on purpose with how you're making money? If not, you'll feel wounded. And when Jupiter squares him on July the 1st, and you'll feel it the day before and after, then you're wounded because your muse is screaming at you. I want to be creative. I want to be a painter, a writer, actor, performer. I want to have joyful entrepreneurial endeavors. And there is a squish of disagreement here. So pay attention to wounds of purpose and career and livelihood matters, and the lack of joyful joy here, maybe a theme for you around the first couple of days of July. And the next major story is a very difficult one for the world, with Mars and Saturn will join each other. And this is very explosive energy on July 4th. For you, it's in your third house, and Happy birthday, America. It's not easy. So, oops, not a week. We don't want to go by week. We want to go by days. Here we go. There we go. So on July 3rd, 4th, 5th, okay, time zone dependent, this energy is going to be about something that kind of shocks or surprises you, connected to the themes of the third house, which are siblings, which are neighbors, which is the local environment you go to daily. So yes, you could have like an event in your local neighborhood that's shocking. And it's things to do with your online presence. It's also where you communicate, like through writing or through online social media situations. So somehow there's some surprise and it bends the nodes of fate. And that means it's very destined and there's no steering wheel on this ride. Bends the north node with, by the way, a moon coming into that part of the chart. And the north node is about your addictions and self-undoing, but I don't see that here. Could be a sibling with a health challenge in a hospital setting, for example. It could be something to do with matters connected to digital income and borderless revenue. And it could be a shocking, unexpected surprise that is destined about that kind of money, right? Like making money from international sources. Like suddenly Google AdSense says they're not going to monetize my channel anymore. Like that would be a shock, right? Then I'm going to retire and paint and write for the rest of my life. So you're going to have a surprise. Now, there's other ways it could look than what I described. I'll be doing a deep dive into this on my channel. But Mars is the Lord of your sign, and he's in neutral dignity, and he sextiles you. So all said and done, Aries folk, it's going to be something less negative than positive. Like it's not the end of the effing world. And because it sextiles Jupiter in a broad sextile, it's not that bad, especially in your chart. So I kind of would say things like, what would I say here? I think you could have a opportunity that shocks you for international travel. There's a positive thing, okay? Maybe even an opportunity to spend significant time traveling either locally or abroad. That's an example. So maybe the surprise is nothing more than that, but you could have a breakthrough moment in something you're communicating. All right, that's the other element, breaking free and breaking through in something that you wish to communicate to the world. And with the moon newly ingressed into Pisces, and with the moon being basically let's go to doing math on the fly, a waxing gibbous moon. So it is the shaman moon, and it's about death and life and death and mortality. Well, someone could be in a hospital setting, unfortunately. But I don't know, the destined fated circumstances unfold. And it also is Mars and Uranus applying to your South Node. Are you ready to let go of an addiction, self-undoing in a shocking, surprising way? Are you ready to let go of a part of your work and livelihood in a shocking, surprising way, given that Mars exalts your 10th house? So those are some stories, but don't forget that this Mars and Uranus are flowing to Pluto, more wealth, more power, renewal, regeneration in your career and its gains, maybe a sudden, surprising social media land event, including a contract or agreements you might make, some kind of contract or agreement being offered to you that feels very lucky. And it also connects you to a dream come true, Neptune and Saturn. So it can also have some very positive side spin-offs here as well. As we move towards the energy of July the 6th, the first week still, the sun is squaring Saturn, and Saturn and Sun square is illuminating a place of hardship and difficulty. It's how are you doing with Saturn in your sign? He's been here now since February, Valentine's Day-like energy, and he's here until end of April 28, 2028. So part of that can make you feel old and tired and run down and worried and anxious. Part of that can make you feel responsible, dutiful, mature, and perseverant. Part of that can make you feel nostalgic. And part of that can make you feel like you're grinding at something. You're working hard, carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. So that's going to be true for you, right, through to 2028. Now, as that's happening, this energy on your sun, moon, and rising, especially if your sun, moon, and rising, and you're listening to this, is anywhere near about 14 degrees, and my sun is at 14 degrees and Saturn's right on top of it, then you're feeling this light at home. So in your domestic private home life, shining brightly in the midnight hour, which is not great for sleep. squaring something that's burdening you, something that's weighing you down, for you to look at it more clearly from the contemplation of your evenings, your quiet time, and your private life. It's inner work, it's soul work, and you got to figure out how to take that burden off your shoulders. It can be a professional burden, a relationship burden, a money burden, just a burden, right? And Saturn rules your career house, and it could be the burden of your career and the burden of the gains of the career. The gilded cage of the YouTube treadmill of content creation would be a great example I can give you just from my perspective. On July the 9th, moving into that second week of the month, 7th to the 14th, on July the 9th, Venus will trine Chiron, trying to soothe and heal this wound around self-worth, value, money, resources, food style, and addiction changes around addictions. And Venus, the goddess of love and beauty, the goddess of pleasure, after being in your muse-driven fifth house, right? Context matters. From June 13th to July the 8th, you could be all fired up with creative projects, entrepreneurial zeitgeist, and could even be having great sex or falling in love with someone June 13th to July the 8th, especially when Jupiter gets in there and ramps it up even harder, in fact, more intensely. So I'd say like June 30th to the 13th, you really got something going on here that's quite intense. Yeah, just leave it as is. So June 13th to July 8th, Venus is here. Jupiter joins her in the first 8 days of first 8 days of July. So the first 8 days of July is really good for meeting someone new. If you're a single Aries, meet someone new. The first week of July might not be bad just because these two are together for a romantic getaway trip. And maybe shocking surprises happen as you have the best time of your life on a romantic getaway. That's an example of how to use the first week of July. But I was trying to get to the crossing on the 9th of June. Venus goes into detriment in your house of employees, in your house of employment, in your house of work, in your house of pets, in your house of rental property agreements, and in the house of health. Venus is very much about, in Virgo, purity, cleanliness, priestess-like purity. Venus also rules your sperm and ovum, and there's a south node thing there too. I wonder if you're coming into, and this is intestinal health, be careful with your intestinal health, food poisoning and stuff like that. This intestinal health challenge could also be a warning flag around July the 10th. But more importantly, the deeper story, she's joining that south node of letting go, releasing, some kind of surrender is happening. And it could be surrendering a part of the job that you do, the work that you do in this world. And you may be shocking the world or yourself with this surrender. And maybe even you're surrendering or letting go of an animal. Now, we do that when we get an elder animal and it's time for them to leave. We have to let them go. You could be also coming into a new pet if it's destined. This would be a new pet, a soulmate pet landing in your home. And Venus here is good for health if you're going to listen to her. Intestinal health, she's flowing to Chiron, the non-allopathic medicine doctor in the house of what you eat, could lead to definitely some interesting dimensions around dietary habits and changes for you. Coming through this July 9th, ingress into your sixth house, and Venus will be here for quite a long time. She doesn't leave your house of your health improvements and she can bless you there, but she is fallen. So you got to listen. It's not easy. Mercury is in the fourth house, saying in the beginning of this, what do you do to improve your health in your home, right? From your home base. All right. She's here from July the 9th to August 7th. A lot of focus on pets and health, work, but maybe not enjoying your work and wondering if you should let it go. And if you have employees, Venus and South Node could indicate challenge with those people who work for you. Maybe even thinking about paring back your employees in sudden and shocking, surprising ways. That could happen here too. Now, after Venus trines Chiron as she enters into her multi-week stay through to August 11th in your sixth house, the next major story to pay attention to will be the following. Mercury will come into the heart of the sun. It's called a cazimi, and this is a reset button in your fourth house. He will be retrograde, and I want you to pay attention to July the 12th because that's when information or news that you need will come to you, and you're trying to use that information or news the best you can to make decisions about your online social media world, your local neighbors and neighborhood, your sibling relationships, major information or insight or news coming through to do you with how to be more healthy, how to work at a better pace, how to take care of your animals or the health of a pet. So there's a flashpoint of divine downloads or insight or news coming, but because it's in the home and close to home, and make sure it could be an email, phone call, pay attention, could come from your nighttime dreams. It could come from contemplation and insights in the home. And they're seeing that clarity emerge on the 12th of the month, a lightning flash of clarity. On July, and it lasts for 6 weeks, from the insight, the information, or the reveal, then over the next 6 weeks, you begin to act in accordance with that reveal, especially after July 23rd, when Mercury goes direct, through to August 7th, while he's still in your fourth house, where, by the way, Mercury's been for a long, long time. Goodness, he entered your fourth house on June the 1st, leaves August 9th. It's rare. And it goes back to 2019 that you had such a thing going on. All right, how about the next narrative? How are you pondering reality when it comes to a new moon in your fourth house? Every time we have a new moon here, we don't change our home. But anytime we have a new moon here, we can change our home. So following the 6 months after this new moon, in your fourth house on the 14th of June, you may choose July on the 14th of July. I hope I haven't been saying June, July, in case I have. I'm recording in early June. I apologize. You might want to change your home. You might be thinking in the first month after, I want to change my home. New moon, new beginning, fresh start. But if not, new things develop in and from your home. And so the new moon with a retrograde Mercury can bring new opportunities for job, work from home, employment, new pets into the home. I'm going to get an animal. New things to do with your social media landscape and how you engage in it, or even a new home connected to a new neighborhood or new rental property in the month that follows, or the 6 months that follows this actual new, fresh beginning, new moon. New moon is in pretty good shape, other than a Mercury retrograde embedded in it, which can be about places you've lived in the past and wanting to live there again, types of pets you've had in the past and wanting to get another one again, or souls of pets from the past returning to you. It's a pretty soft touch, new beginning, fresh moon. It doesn't have any major malefic problems going on. There's a general square from Saturn, but you're living with Saturn for years now, like until April 28th. So it's nothing that you can't handle. All right. After the new moon on the 14th of July, we're going to move into the 14th of July, 15th of July through to the 22nd of July, where Barbo's rare, once in a lifetime basket is forming in our sky. You can see the basket. It's already here. Take a look, right? Basket. You see the basket? And what do you catch in your bushel of apple baskets? You really easily catch 9th house, 8th house, and 7th house things. Easiest to catch in the basket. Well, you're going to catch book publishing, international travel, court and legal matters, perhaps wins. You're going to catch chunks of money, inheritance money, residual income, Google AdSense, royalty income, spousal separation agreement money if needed, grants and stipends. And you're going to catch 9th house. You're going to catch 8th house. You're going to easily catch 7th house things in your basket. Long-term committed love, business partnerships and contracts into your basket. So these are areas of life that in the second half of July, you're noticing you're catching these things in the basket. And it's possible, Jupiter anchoring the corner of the basket, that some of this is also true for the entirety of the next year, baking in a kind of, these themes are easy, these themes are receiving energy, not grabbing energy for the entire year ahead until next summer. Barbo's rare basket that can bring a turning point for civilization for the better, so they say. Is accompanied just about as the basket is forming, just as on the 14th of the month, the basket is forming. On the 13th of the month, Venus will have a surprise. Shock or surprise, unexpected development in work, employees, pets, local neighbors and neighborhood situations, siblings. That's what I got for you. Unexpected and surprising and fated and destined. And it may be square. It may be not the best surprise you've ever had, but still Venus will try her best to give you a smooth edge to it. And it could even impact your local environment connected to your neighborhood and rental properties as well. And there's a surprise. They're going to demolish a building next to you and it's going to be noisy for a year. You're like, what? I'm out of here now. On the basket itself, as it really forms on the 14th, 15th, and it holds its shape, watch the basket. it gets stronger and stronger as Jupiter moves forward. I'm losing your sign. So basket Jupiter forming. Jupiter is lucking good stuff in fertility and pregnancy and growth and expansion in the house of good fortune. With this energy here, the basket is being anchored by Jupiter opposite Pluto. There's dynamic tension between cathartic regeneration and renewal, death and rebirth, and Jupiter in the house of good fortune. What the hell is that? Because as Jupiter strengthens his position and gets really locked and loaded around the 20th to the 22nd, okay, that's the most important time for anchoring that basket, but you see it building here. There's just something about how you want to really open up good fortune that surprises you in the world, because Jupiter will eventually become in a nice little sextile from Leo. He will sextile flow and ease and harmony and good grace. Here we are, 4 degrees, 4 degrees. Happy, lucky, unexpected, shocking, positive, good fortune, surprise. Could be good fortune in the life of a sibling, could be good fortune connected to your children, could be good fortune connected to social media landscape, maybe going viral, entrepreneurial business good fortune, just good fortune, prosperity and abundance. And Jupiter rules your house of publishing, teaching, and long distance travel, foreign land travel, good fortune there. Jupiter can bring good fortune because you're traveling, good fortune because something good is happening with a child in your life or a sibling. Now, this is a sextile to Uranus, and this is a fertility house. Unexpectedly, a child is going to be announcing they are pregnant with child, because that's very likely under the sky. It could happen. So there's that other story too. Now, Jupiter here wants to make you luckier than luck itself. And he does flow back in a trine to your Aries sky. Any planets in early Aries, the first 6 degrees of Aries, really feel the luck on this basket, like my moon at 8 degrees or my Mercury at 8 for me, or 2. I can really feel the luck coming this way for my Ariesness, right? And Jupiter trines Saturn, where it's like structure, discipline, and hard work bring bounty and fortune. And so feel the basket, get the vibe. And what's this lucky surprise? Okay, this is lottery tickets. This is the local stores you buy them at. You could win. This is wealth. You might share the money with someone, split the ticket. This is a house of windfalls. Interestingly, as this basket gets tighter and tighter, and we move to here, the 20th, the 21st, that kind of thing, the moon is in the house of chunky money. So yeah, you could come into a chunk of money under this basket energy around the 20th to the 22nd of the month. So don't be afraid of winning money or just coming into a chunk of money that you didn't earn directly. So everything from winning it in a casino or a lottery to, I don't know, an unexpected inheritance, something like that. Okay, Mars says hard work pays off in an easy way. That was easy. Flowing to Saturn, still direct, not retrograde till the end of the month. We don't cover that in these videos because it's too big a story to do here. But Mars will sextile Saturn on July the 19th. On July the 19th, 2 days before and 2 days after-ish, you're feeling like all this grinding, hard work, shoulder responsibility is paying off in social media and communicating and marketing and selling and short distance traveling and connections to siblings and things to do with your messaging and your writing, and all of that is somehow hard work pays off. It's kind of like a commercial success through diligence and perseverance, and you're seeing the payday of that hard work or that structured action and disciplined action. So that happens in the middle of that week of the basket, happens on the 19th. As I say, I always give it a couple days before and after. Don't spread it out a bit, is what I'm suggesting, right? Not happening all at once in one place. It's spread it out. So if you're working hard, in the 3rd week of July, you'll get payouts and good success from working hard. That's all I mean. Okay? That's how I see it anyway. And it's likely connected to your career because Mars exalts your career house and he's a ruler of you. I have another spirit in my ear. What the hell? I'm being haunted. I'm going to go back and start doing psychic readings just for fun. Sorry, my phone is dinging. I need to wait for a FedEx delivery. All right, so then let's talk about the last week of the month. It's quite busy. A lot of stuff is happening all at once the last week of July. We start off with the sun squaring Chiron, just like Chiron was squared by Jupiter on July 1st. So here we go again. Now we're on July 22nd, 23rd. Sun will activate the Chironic wound on that time frame. You might also be dinged and pinged by, I'm doing something with my hard work. connected to my income, connected to my creativity and entrepreneurship, but am I having any joy? The sun says spotlight on by Jove and jovial enjoyment of my creativity. And Chiron says, yeah, but is this even on purpose? So sometimes it can be like you're looking deeper at how your natural gifts and talents can be better purposed in your world and in your life. And you're coming like to a assessment of that energy around July 22nd, 23rd. Also moving forward in this part of the month, there's some good news around the 24th. So while you're facing a chironic wound, at the same time, Mercury and Venus are flowing together. And so Venus and Mercury together is good news. It's going to be around July the 24th that you can probably notice it coming in a day or two before July the 24th. The good news is connected to pets, rentals, debts. You can eliminate a debt repayment from someone. It's connected to good news regarding your money and your financial situation, especially if it's connected to work, and maybe even some good news connected to your domestic life, your private life, and something good happening for a significant long-term cohabitational love partner if you have one. Good news about a health challenge, good news about a rental property opportunity. Good news. So there's like a nice little flash of good news here. And you might even have some good news about siblings or travel opportunities connected to siblings. So the good news is upon you. And it's pretty exact around July the 24th. On the next storyline, as the sun anchors the basket and just continues what Jupiter started through to the end of the month. Remember, this part of the sky, particularly July the 26th to the 29th, amplitude again. You want some chunky money? You want some book publishing deals? You want a new love partner? Sure. Or better marriage conditions, maybe even better employees. It's all falling into the basket. But the sun is also the exaltation lord of you. Okay. So it's going to benefit you greatly, Aries, that sun is amplituding and reinforcing the basket that Jupiter has already created. And although you may have a power struggle with an elder sibling or someone in authority, you're pushing and pulling between joyful and high-spirited, enthusiastic engagement in pleasure, fun, and creativity and entrepreneurial success versus the just making money. Okay. Something is more important to you. And it feels to me like the basket can bring in results of luck because you are focused on what inspires you, what gives you pleasure and joy, not simply chasing the paper. There's a lot of turning points for you guys. My daughter-in-law is an Aries sun, and she's going to be making a baby happen sometime in July or early August. Late July. That could just be her baby shows up. Look at that. Right. So that's how astrology works, exalting her. And then we go into the next story, especially with the moon in the house of labor and delivery. Might be able to predict she's going to have a baby somewhere around July 24th, 25th, instead of early August. We'll see. Delivery and labor is here. There's the moon for the midwife. Let's talk about the next thing. Let's get going to say, what does Venus do when she squares Mars other than have a hot, sizzling sex or infidelities? Well, on July the 29th, Venus will square Mars from her fall in Virgo. Now, that can just be a pivotal turning point decision regarding Venus in its sixth house, right? You could be having a romantic getaway on a trip with somebody, but this would be like an office romance. Do you really want to have an office romance on a getaway trip? Then that's what you're doing here. And Mars rules secret love affairs in your chart. So yeah, go for the office getaway, the motel room escapades with an office partner who's married or something weird like that. Otherwise, Mars is saying making some turning point decisions, executive decision-making around work, health, and employees and pets and debts, right? Especially since Mars rules your chunky money and investment house. And also Venus is willing to comply. Mars is in the stronger position, and Mars can cut, end, and sever. So you may ask an employee to no longer work with you. You might not need them. You might want to cut, end, and sever a particular job that you're doing. It doesn't have to be the whole career, but like say you have multiple tasks in a job and you may cut away some of those tasks. And Mars exalts your career, not by what you add, by what you cut away. And it's not pleasurable. Venus has fallen. So you're going to cut away the unpleasurable things that you do in your work, if you can, around the 29th of July. And you'll feel that to be true a day or two before and a day or two after. Also on the 29th of July, the Sun and Jupiter do a reset button. This can be a new start that lasts a year. Just trust me, it's here. Well, the node of fate on the 27th has moved into your house of children, fertility, entrepreneurial success, creativity, and natural talents and gifts. This nodal axis will be here for 18 months. We're going to go a whole deep dive video onto this. I don't want to do it a short service. This is where you're going to draw on past life abilities in order to execute greater talent and creativity and maybe entrepreneurial success. But at the same time, you might let go of certain parts of your creative and entrepreneurial portfolio, right? And because you're striving for an extraordinary amount of worldly success over these 18 months, even great riches. And then you're better suited to partnering with others and doing your entrepreneurial chutzpah alone, or even just you're working for someone as well and getting more success. We'll cover that world in another video. But this reset button of Jupiter with the Sun that happens to be exact on the 29th is going to open up a door that lasts a year. A new portal opens here. Could be a pregnancy portal, a new business portal for new creative entrepreneurial endeavors that are shocking, original, and surprising. New beginnings and fresh starts in fertility for sure. You could be pregnant. Your children could be pregnant under the sky in the year that follows this Jupiter reset button. And it could just be a lucky, fortunate day. This is the archetype of the good father. Just something good and lucky happening to you and surprising you as it flows, of course, back to your third house of the online world and siblings. Maybe a sibling's having a baby or siblings' children are having babies. All right, then we go into your last story of the month. Full moon, 6 degrees of Aquarius. Aquarius is your house of career gains, rewards from your career, what you desire in your long-range dreams and goals, a sibling, one older, and friends and benefactors and friendship circles. This is where you have a full spotlight, like a torchlight. And you had a new moon here, but it was an eclipse. And that new moon, a February 28th eclipse, was here. Now, anytime we start to have a series of eclipses through our 7th house, 11th house, we can change the way we make our success and our career happen. We can change the way we'll change our friendship groups and circles, in this case, expanding them because of the North Node. And we can also change up and increase our influence over larger groups of people. And this is a new story for you over the course of the next 18 months because that's an eclipse window time. But what is the spotlight on? Go back to like February 28th, go a month before, maybe 2 weeks after, 2 to 3 months after, around February 28th eclipse. The node was in the 12th house, which is a house of what we are doing in our solitude, all alone by ourselves, in our contemplation, in our spiritual life. You may be considering some changes in your career path to bring it into more a spiritual focus, a more enlightenment energy, a more spiritual focus. And you knew that was true. You had to do that January, February, March, April last year from the February 28th eclipse. Now the spotlight is on fulfillment. See what spiritual elements you can bring into the way you gain money and the purpose of your career and all of that good stuff. Okay. So that full moon will be here at 6 degrees. If you have a sun or moon or rising near 6 degrees, than I do, right? My moon at 8. It's really felt by you as a strong, full light lunation, pointing you toward what the next steps are in your 11th house, fulfillment energy of a longer range goal and dream, and a connection to you, to the spiritual part of reality, but also in a way that brings worldly success. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, the 7 no, more like the power of now. Do you want to be that person? Do you want to bring some spiritual truth to the world? Especially with Jupiter witnessing from the house of the muse and ruling your house of book publishing. I think the conception of a book may occur, or a teaching, or something you want to share with the world that inspires others spiritually, liberates them spiritually over the next 6 months after this full moon. Look for evidence and clues what this full moon is asking you to do. July 29th, add 1 month, okay, into the end of August. And don't forget, we saw Mercury go direct on July 23rd. So decisions and contracts you sign are all good to go. If you don't want to sign a contract necessarily under a retrograde Mercury, unless it's a contract renewal. Otherwise, now you're good to go to sign agreements and contracts and make decisions about in and from your home about whatever it is you're deciding on. Thanks for listening, Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you in Sky Reader. I hope some of you are coming to Sky Reader this fall. I love teaching. It's one of my favorite activities. Of all the things I do these days, teaching is my favorite. So come join me in Sky Reader in September. Love to have you there. It's going to be fun. It always is. And you're going to learn to time your best life and be your own astrologer in 7 weeks, which is a big ask to ask you to learn that quickly. But I do my best to take you through it. You get to keep the content forever, and you get a lot of Q&As and support from me and my teaching staff. See you there. Ciao, ciao.
Lunatic astrology.